just have to make do by seeing my face. Hello, dear friends and peers. For those who do not know me, my name is Yash Singh. I'm a third generation Foundryman. And the name of my company is Greycast Founders and Amar Founders Private Limited in Mumbai. I also serve as the chairman of the IIF Greater Mumbai chapter currently. Just a brief background of what I do. In my company, I'm associated in the capacity of managing director. We do sand casting of nickel, cobalt, and stainless steel alloys. I was also instrumental in setting up our investment casting division 5 years ago. And meanwhile, I have also been able to work my way through and filed 2 patents on the way, including a global patent on titanium alloy manufacturing using lost wax process. And in fact, in 2018, I was awarded with the Young Foundryman of the Year award at the 60th Indian Foundry Congress in Delhi for the same. So let me just start by making a remark that I personally am not an engineer by education. I come from a management background. And although I have been going to foundries since the age of 5, by the virtue of my family being involved with this lovely business, I was not professionally trained in engineering. So anytime, anyone asks me, how can you be running a foundry without a technical education? My response to them would be quite simple. I would just ask them, do you have to be a pilot to run an airline company? Hell no, right? You need to have the acumen and the vision. If you look at Dilip Shanghvi, the CEO of Sun Pharma, world's largest generic medicine manufacturer, he was BCom by education, but yet he can give any pharmacist or chemical engineer on this planet a run for his money. So here's my learning for my peers, foundrymen who are younger than me, that instead of going to engineering college, I went to foundry instead. And my earliest memories are of roaming in foundries. I remember smelling molasses and tar, which was used in binders way before no-bake was commercially introduced. And after my graduation and just before my MBA, I had some gap. I had a vacation, and I used to visit my office at that time. And my office at that time, this is the reason, by the way, why I joined foundry industry. My office at that time was very close to the campus of IIT Mumbai. And there I had the opportunity to meet Dr. B. Ravi. And that's what really got me interested into this industry. In fact, he was the one, Dr. B. Ravi, who was behind making CAD simulation, casting simulation so popular in India. So there he was in IIT Bombay, him and his students. They were trying to make a low cost knee implant, orthopedic implant by casting process. And in that 4 months, I quickly became a part of that group. And I saw my own foundry industry from a very different perspective. Something which my family has been a part of over 3 generations was being used here by these students to build something like, who had made a mini tabletop foundry in IIT Bombay to make medical implants more cost effective. And so that the basic healthcare can be reached out to the poorest of the poor in country. And that they could only do because of the casting process, right? And there I knew that it was I was a part of a magical industry. My family was a part of a magical industry where indirectly and directly we touch the lives of so many other industries and people. And we get to interact with, like Akash said, we get to interact with automobile, oil and gas, pharmaceutical, defense, ordnance, orthopedic implants, hardware, railways, aviation, name it. No other industry will be able to give this kind of exposure to any engineer or non-engineer with an inquisitive mind. And that's when I realized that I would want to be a part of this family history. And that's when I actually, after my management program was over, I joined my father's business. And when I was a part of IIT Bombay team, I realized that India had actually been a spearhead in the history of foundry industry. If you must have studied, or maybe not, if you look at the statue of the dancing girl, which was excavated in Harappa, it was actually world's first investment casting, and which was manufactured right here in India. And uh, at that time, my friends were getting into management, or here in Mumbai we have Powai, which is called the Silicon Valley of India. They were getting into startups. I realized that this is the kind of exposure and experience which I get in our industry, in foundry industry, I would not be able to get in those industries. Although this talk, I'll keep it very brief, is about foundry owners and managing foundry business. But here's my message to the friends who presented before and otherwise on the other side, who are working in foundries, employees, who willingly chose to be a part of this beautiful industry. Adding on to what Prasad said, you have to keep upskilling yourself. I'll just add on to that. You need to also have that sense of ownership. If you're from a production department, step into the finance department, see how reducing your wall thickness in the casting can make the part more profitable. If you are a part of a a laboratory department, if you're handling spectrometer or tensile equipments, interact with the sales team. See if you having the better tensile or mechanical properties, your sales team can use it as a differentiator between you and your competitors. As your shift is over, or when you're leaving your foundry at the end of the day, step into some other departments, learn, compound your knowledge, and obviously your remuneration all the way. uh, you might think, a lot of people think that foundry doesn't pay well, but you might laugh at me also if I say the growth is limitless. I personally have seen a graduate engineer who started by earning 20,000 rupees per month to a salary of 1.2 lakh in just 5 years, just because he upskilled himself. You could put him anywhere. You could put him into sales, production, quality. He could work anywhere. He seeped experience like a sponge. He kept learning every day. Tell me if you've heard this kind of sales or salary trajectory in any other industry, startups included. No other industry will be able to give you this kind of diversity. All you have to do is upskill yourself, and you have to keep upscaling and learning every day. Uh, Another important aspect which you need to present to your management when you're working there as an employee is the savings and the changes which you make in terms of money value. And nobody cares, if you've implemented 10 kaizens in a work in a year, or if you have done process motion study, how much value did it add to the company ultimately? In pure monetary terms, if you could simplify it to management, that say, assuming you increase the machine efficiency by around 32% using the same induction furnace, hence you improve in productivity, and you saved around 50 lakhs which your organization was going to invest into a new melting line. Bravo. If you put a monetary value, no foundry owner will mind to give you 4 to 5 lakh rupee raise in your next this thing if you save their 50 lakhs. So guys, putting a monetary value on your work is very important. Presenting it to management is very important. Show how much value you have added. Finally, own your department. Have that sense of ownership in you. Remove your blinders and inhibition. With all modesty, I'm not a metallurgist or an engineer by education, but I was able to find a process patent in one of the most critical alloys, that's titanium, which most of you know is very critical to work with. It has a lot of complication. So guys, look what beyond what you currently do. My 2 cent advice that I want to share with the peers just out of college, the youngsters, since the topic is about inspiring young foundry talent, is that we all get excited about new technology, like new technology, this AI, that industry 4.0. We talk about artificial intelligence and foundry shop floor using expensive, 4-axis robots for various process. But guys, we have to remember, don't just automate for the sake of automation. Automate where only safety is an issue, or processes are there which are not adding any value. Just remember, in the end, it's also about making money, right? Don't burn money on unnecessary automation at the expense of your management. Last year, I had the opportunity of visiting Japan and going to Toyota's plant in Nagoya. And I was surprised to see one thing. We all learn about TPM and Toyota, but there, as a foundry set in 20 acres of land, I could not see or identify one inspection department. There was absolutely no quality manager or quality inspector on the shop floor. What they used to do is the worker from the next department, say he's from molding line, he would first check the material incoming to him from the previous department, then only he would proceed with its operation. I obviously have more learned people talking about Toyota production system and TPM here. I clearly am not a subject expert on this, but can we identify such wastes in a system, in a management system, in a marketing system, in a financial system, MUDA as they call it? Can we eliminate these wastes? Because guys, we have to say that these times are tough. Let's not paint a rosy picture that all will be fine. The harsh reality is that these are very tough times. How do we make ourselves competitive in something which we should continuously reflect upon? Like most of us know that there's a shift in manufacturing from China. Sadly, a lot of people are considering the other countries. How can we make them shift to India? How can we as a nation, as youngsters, as we call the members of these founding mother industry, be a contributor to it? How can we make a country look more lucrative than the other options like Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos? So guys, we have to look global. We live in a global age. We youngsters know how to target our customers from here, right here, using SEO, search engine optimization, using SMO, Google AdWords. How can we sell ourselves? How can we learn? We can obviously learn all these things online in a couple of hours. Can we set target locations to these customers in northern US and Europe who are shifting bases from China? We need not even go to exhibit there. Digitally, how can we pitch ourselves in this post-COVID world when customers are not going to attend any trade fairs or exhibition? I'll just like to share a figure with you guys. Previously, to part in a ISI conference, it used to cost somewhere around 8 to 9 lakh rupees, the American Investment Customer Institute conference of the year. And now we can participate right here from our bedrooms and our office for a fraction of the cost. This year, even they decided to make it digital, which is one of the most conventional institutes as we know of. Can we visit such local conferences and global conferences? Can we upskill ourselves? Can we even go a step further and think of interacting with our customers, potential customers? We can have them visit a facility using Skype, WebEx, or any virtual factory tour. A process of factory visit, which I know for a global customer takes around 2 to 3 months of just communication. Can we reduce it to weeks using these technologies which we are empowered with right now? And one of my final bits is also about how can we add value to our global customers in medium scale foundries and small scale foundries, like mine included. We run away from complex machining. We run away from assembling parts. Can we add value there? We don't even need to build capacities for that. There is already excess capacity out there. And post-COVID, there will be serious recession. There will be serious, as we call it, effects of these 3 months lockdown. There will be excess capacity. Can we just leverage on that? In our country, we have the best machining guys in Coimbatore. We have the best pattern makers in Rajkot, Kolhapur. We have the best plasma welding assembly guys in Pune. Can we showcase ourselves as a complete one-stop solution to our global potential customers? We can join the dots for them. Let's face it, we do not have the kind of infrastructure or even the capital to beat a machinery like China. But can we collaborate to show ourselves as global customers that we are masters of networking? We essentially work in clusters, right? Be it Howrah or Jalandhar or even Kolhapur or Sangli. Can we build upon this supply chain which China has offered at one single location? Because as a new world order, which we'll see after COVID, would be about collaborations and not about expansion as we see. When I spoke about whatever I spoke about right now was OPEX model. In business studies, we call this model where operational expenses are there and not capital expenses are there. Like, Uber and Oyo, wherein they don't own anything, but they use each other's leverages and capacities to build an ecosystem. We don't even need to employ funds at one go. We need to, however, make a network of our suppliers so strong, our quality checkpoints so bulletproof, and showcase that we are really competitive as the new world order begins. So again, I'd like to repeat, can we look at OPEX models for a foundry industry together collectively? Can we attain scalability, global visibility instantly instead of building onto a factory and then adding 10%, 15% capacity year on year? Can we also, as a mindset of a small and medium foundry owner, can we proactively shift from the per kg costing to a per part costing, and later on to a per assembly costing, and give a single one-stop solution which these guys are used to, these OEMs are used to in China? Can we proactively approach these global counterparts and show that we have these kind of synergies? We are ready to do these kind of value addition which nobody else is offering. And these are my closing remarks. I have an analogy to share. I'm sure most of you would find disgusting as a comparison, but have you seen cockroaches, right? They are adaptable. They change according to times. They were there even before dinosaurs were there, and they will better be there even after nuclear war. They act collectively in synergies. Their decision making is collective. As a group, they are always synchronized. They are actually the truest sense of the word lean. So let's be cockroaches. Do not be disgusted, but let's be cockroaches. We have to defeat an elephant like China, and we will have to think different. Our generation, the youngsters as we speak, have been really lucky to see the shift in India from 4 to 3 and 3 to 2. Now it's upon us to make it number one. And these are exciting times. Let's look at global opportunities. The times are going to be tough in the next 1 year. Let's save our cash. Let's not take debt. Let's not over leverage ourselves or take loans. Let's rather build a strong infrastructure of collaboration and synergies with the existing capacities which we already have out there. And after every recession, as we are in one right now, be it your 2008 global meltdown or 2001 crash or the 79 bust, after every recession there's an upswing, there's a big boom. And I'm very positive that there'll be a lot more cash generation in the system post 1 year than what we've ever seen before. And it's time we are better prepared to leverage onto this. Let's see how we can collaborate. Let's use each other's competencies and project ourselves as leader, as an industry, and as a nation. It's up to us youngsters. We have to shift India from number 2 to number 1 in both volume as well as value. We do not talk about value. Let's be cockroaches, guys. Let's survive for this 1 year. It will be beautiful. And that's about it from my side. Thank you for having me here. Dynamic Foundry Group is really active, and I find a lot of insightful dialogues happening on this platform. And I would really like to thank Sandeep Kulkarni ji for linking us all here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yash. That was a really inspiring one. Now, I will, it's actually too late right now, but yeah, I'd like to request Mr. Manish Kothari, please to summarize this thing and conclude this, the